As a confidence coach in Calgary who works with businesses and individuals, I have seen that confidence looks different for everyone. In this podcast, we explore confidence through the eyes of our diverse community, redefining it one conversation at a time. Welcome to Confidence Redefined. I'm your host, Alyssa McMasters. Today we sit down with the fabulous Tom Barker, an integral member of the LGBTQ+ community, and the dazzling drag artist known as Birthday Girl. Get ready for a laughter-filled conversation as we delve into Tom's confidence journey, discover the secrets behind Birthday Girl's empowering stage presence, and explore the beautiful intersection where these two incredible identities meet. Get ready for insights, inspiration, and a whole lot of fabulous. Welcome, Tom. I'm so happy that you are here to chat about confidence and what confidence looks like and how it can look different. I call this podcast Confidence Redefined because in my mind, confidence can look so different for everybody and it's not a one size fits all. And I love everything that you do. I love everything about you. And I love how you don't fit into a box. You're an entrepreneur. You're a drag queen. You're all of the above. And I wanted to chat about what that looks like for you and what confidence looks like. So first, Salute is your bar. How did you join Salute?
Okay, so what had happened was it's a bit of like a kismet story about me doing drag and getting into it and then getting into the bar. But I knew Tanya, who's my current business partner, had opened Salute like from the very beginning, right at the tail end of the pandemic. She did it with another partner, and then the partner that she had sort of moved away from it. I don't think she was very much interested in keeping going and whatever. So she stepped away, and then Tanya ran it on her own for a while. And at this point, we were already doing the show in the bar, and I was already hosting some other events and whatever else. So she sat me down one day, and she was like, I love what we're doing. We work really well together. You're cool. You're young. You're hip. Which is fine, but whatever.
Stop.
Yeah, she was like, you're young, you're cool, you're hip, and I think we could work very well. And she's a fierce ally for the community. I absolutely adore her. And she sat me down. She goes, I want you to be my business partner. And I, as a 28-year-old, was like, oh, I could never. I'm poor, like every other 28-year-old. And so I took about 2.5 weeks. I went on vacation, and I was like, I'm going to go think about this because it's a lot, right? Like for me, moving from a sole proprietorship type of entrepreneur into an incorporation where there's staff and brick and mortar and food and cost and whatever. It was terrifying. But I came back and I was like, well, what's the worst that could happen? So I did it.
Beautiful. And I love how you say it was terrifying, because I think a lot of people think that this like, oh, it must be easy. Yeah. It must have been easy for you to just do it. But it sounds like you were scared and you did it anyways. Oh. Tell me the process of doing it anyways. What did that look like for you?
So I tend to live under the skies of like, at least I didn't die. And so anything that you do in your life, at the very least, you get a story out of it. So when it came down to the bar, I was like, well, even if it doesn't work out, I still did this really cool thing for however long I was able to do it. So, and it was really scary because not only now am I moving from this entrepreneurship of only having to worry about my bills getting paid and my money, you now have, at the time, we had 5 staff that relied on us to pay their bills. And in turn, we had to keep doing things to make the business stay relevant and all of these things. And I wasn't sure I was ready to take on that responsibility as a 28-year-old because Tanya's in her 40s and she's been doing business for a really long time. So she knows the risks. She's had big payoffs and really low lows. And so she knew what she was doing, but I had no knowledge of this. I knew it was going to be a learning curve. And honestly, by the end of my 20s, I was done learning lessons. I did not want to do it anymore. I didn't want to make any more mistakes. And so I was like, well, this will be my last hurrah. And if this doesn't work, then I will resign to a life of corporate Canada. And so, yeah.
And I cannot imagine you in corporate Canada. So I'm very happy that things turned out because Salute does actual cocktails in Okotoks, right? The only bar in Okotoks who does crafted original cocktails. Yeah. And then, of course, also has a whole bunch of shows and a whole bunch of things going on, including lots of drag shows that you are part of and obviously put on. Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about your drag artist self. The Birthday Girl YYC.
Oh, my God.
Tell me how you got into that. And I'm actually interested to know, did Salute come first or did the birthday curl come first?
So this is why I say it was kind of a kismet like transition with drag in the bar, and it's because I started doing drag. So there's a thing they do in Calgary every year called Turnabout, and it's where they take these kind of people in the community or people that work at the club, and they put them in drag for charity. And it's supposed to be just a fun like 1 year thing where kind of everyone flips roles. So I was DJing at the club at the time, and my now drag mother said, I'm going to put you in drag because I think you'd be so good and whatever. So I did it once that night. I performed All By Myself by Celine Dion in a custom red sequin gown with a massive like blonde bubbled updo. And it was so sickening. And I lived my life that like you couldn't tell me I was not queen of the world. And I won. And so that night I was crowned. What was I crowned? It was my first award. Miss Twisted 2021. So I did that, and Tanya, my business partner, had come up with a bunch of her friends to see the show. So she saw it, and then I won. It was great. It was awesome. And then I was like, I'm never doing that again because that hurt so bad. It hurt my feet. It hurt my stomach. It hurt my head. And so we ended up doing, I did one other event because someone else was in the audience that wanted to book me for something. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll do this one other event. And then I did that. And then it sort of snowballed into someone was at that event and wanted to book me for something. And I was like, well, me being an entrepreneur, I was like, hey, I could make some money at this, right? Because between those events, I had made a significant amount of money. And so I was like, well, this is the fastest way to get cash in your pocket. And bearing in mind at this time, I had never even done makeup on myself. I had never done a wig. I did not know what it took. And so, yeah, I did these shows. And then Tanya came to me and was like, I think we should do a show at the bar. I think it would be amazing and whatever. And I was like, Tanya, I don't even know how to do drag. Like, I don't know even what eyeliner is. Like, I'd never even stepped foot in Sephora before that. So we ended up doing the show. We did the first show in December of 2021. And it was a raging success. We started selling tickets. It sold out in 20 minutes. And it was crazy. And then we ended up having to do another show because that sold out as well. And then Tanya was like, we're going to do this every month. It's going to be amazing, blah, blah, blah. So I had to learn really quickly how to do makeup, how to do wigs, how to do dresses, how to do everything. And I will say it was a little rough for the first like 4 or 5 months as I like figured out makeup and figured out hair and whatever. But no, it was awesome. And then because that show had been so successful, me and Tanya had then forged our really good relationship, and then we became business partners. So it's sort of a beautiful journey together into this world, but I wouldn't change it.
Beautiful. And what I love so much about that is that those first 4 or 5 months when you say like I was learning and trying, I think a lot of people see drag artists or just really see anybody and they see the final product, right? And they say, wow, that person must know what they're doing from day one. It must have been so easy for them. But thank you for sharing that. You're like, I just kind of fumbled through it a little bit and kind of like figured out what that looked like.
Yeah, I look back now because now I've been doing drag for just over 2 years. And I look back at that first like 4 months and I was like, who let me out of the house? Looking like that. Like, and bearing in mind at that time, I had eyebrows and I had all these things and it was a little bit more complicated to do my face, but it was like, I don't even know how people gave me $5 to look like that. And, you know, and like you could see in the bottom of my pads, you could see where my shorts were and you could see my leg hair through my tights. And I was like, what is this? Anyway, it was. But for me, it's about personality, right? It's about putting on the show. And sometimes maybe that translates also to real life. Like maybe it doesn't matter what you look like whatsoever. It matters what you bring to the table and how you make people feel. Yeah. I want to go back to the moment that you said, nobody could tell me that I was not the queen of the world when you were on stage there. Oh, yeah. What did that feel like when you were up there? Obviously, it felt amazing. But was it the winning or was it just doing it that really set it apart? Do you know what it was? It was standing on stage because that performance was an absolute disaster from beginning to end. But it was because I fell over, my wig came off, like it was just a disaster. But there was one moment where I hit in All By Myself, there's that big note right in the middle.
Do you want to do it for us?
Oh God, I cannot. Oh no.
Okay, I won't make you.
It's on my TikTok if anybody wants to see it. I hit this big note. And my arms are outstretched like this, and the crowd lost it. And in that moment, I was like, you can't tell me nothing. Like, it was when you know that you stood there in a dress and a wig brings so much joy to people, there's no way it can't make you feel like the queen of the universe. Like, and it did at that time. And like, it was the most beautiful thing, because all I ever want to do in my life, and this has just been something since I was a kid, is I just want to make people happy. I want to see them laugh. I want them to have a good time. Like, I want them to see life the way that I do. And I finally, I think in that moment, figured out that that was the avenue for me. Because I was on the radio and I did all these other things, but nothing ever seemed to stick, right? And I could never do anything for long enough, because I'm pretty sure I might be undiagnosed ADHD, but we don't know. But there was no avenue that ever stuck. And so drag was the one that was like, people relate to this and people relate to me. And then yeah, it was history.
And as an audience member, when we watch those moments, we can also feel those moments. And watching someone be so like unapologetically authentic, whatever that looks like for them, it affects the people who are watching as well, just as much as it affects the actual artist.
Yeah, exactly. That's the beauty of drag, is that what I say to people is, when you come to a show, there's nothing in your life that's any worse than me right now, because I am so uncomfortable. My head hurts. I'm tucked. And there's just like, you shut up. You know what I mean? Your problems are no worse than mine right now. So it kind of puts everybody on the same level, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Now, when you then join Salute as your, the business partner, and you kind of realize maybe this is like a real thing, right? Being able to do drag and being able to be an entrepreneur at the same time and make that like an actual lucrative run for you.
Yeah.
Did that really increase your confidence when you realize like these two things can connect?
So yes and no, because when I became part of the bar, and especially because Birthday Girl had sort of this meteoric rise into the world. Like, people adore Birthday Girl and they love her and they love seeing her. And in turn, they want to book her all the time, 7 days a week, which I'm very blessed to have as much business as I do. But when you take over the business, you then realize, oh, you got to shut this side down, 3 days a week, because you got to work in the bar. And then your bar schedule is a little all over the place because you have to work, now go out and do shows. So you're taking time away from the business. So in a way, yes and no. I was confident that I could make the schedule work. I was confident that I was good enough to handle all the scheduling. I was confident that I knew that I had a team around me of people that could help should I need it. And they do. They're fabulous people. But yeah, I would say it did increase my confidence, and it pushed me further into adulthood than I have ever been. So
further into adulthood.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? We always look around and we're like, where's the adultier adults?
Oh my God, for real.
It's me. We're talking about that earlier today.
Yeah.
What?
Seriously. I don't know. It's crazy.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I think it's interesting how, again, like from my perspective, I'm like, oh, like that looks so cool. You're able to do it so well. But with always the behind the scenes too, that it's always also challenging, right?
Yeah.
There's the challenges and there's the benefits to everything that we do.
Yeah.
Now I'm interested to know, as Tom and then as Birthday Girl, how does the confidence between having like the Birthday Girl versus Tom, is there a difference there, or how do you find the balance there?
So there is a difference. And this is really kind of, there's two separate types of confidence that happen in my life. When I'm me, out of drag, how do I put it into words? When I'm out of drag, I look for confidence in other people, and I need them to believe in me, because I have such a crazy schedule, and I need them to know, or to tell me that, this is great, this is fine, blah, blah, blah. And I'm very confident in way of, like, I go to the grocery store and I will talk to you and I want to hear all about your life, and I want to hear, like, absolutely everything so that I can see where I can help, or, like, you know what I mean? With Birthday Girl, the name Birthday Girl, it's so stupid.
Tell me more. I'm excited to hear about it.
So I was not always Birthday Girl. My first 2 months of drag, this is the most horrendous name, and do not judge me for it.
I can't wait.
It was Shirley Bottoms, as in she Shirley Bottoms.
Ooh.
Get it? Yeah. Which I thought was camp. I thought it was the highest camp name ever, and it was not. And then there's a queen in Calgary from Edmonton who is wonderful. Her name is Lilith Fair. She said, I got this drag name for you, and I think you're going to love it. And I was like, oh, God, here we go. And, like, when you pick your drag name, like, I was set on Shirley Bottoms. I was like, you can't tell me that's not my name. And then she said Birthday Girl, and I was like, what? that's everything. And she was like, yeah, like it's a most hilarious name. Your merch is already made. It's at the dollar store. And you can get anything with birthday girl on it. And I was like, okay, great. And so anyway, I was like, oh, okay, screw it. I'll do it. And so I did it. And ever since then, it's sort of morphed into this thing. This confidence with birthday girl is everyone is a narcissist on their birthday. Everyone wakes up on their birthday and they were like, this day is about me and you can't tell me otherwise. And it's that confidence in yourself that all of us have one day a year. Why can't you do it the other 364? You know, like if you're confident on your birthday, get up and do it again the next day. And like, why shouldn't we all get gifts every day of the year? Why shouldn't we, like, why can't we be the gift, right? So birthday girl has this confidence and instills confidence in other people and says, why can't I be that girl? I will say, you know what I'm saying? You can wake up and you say, why can't I be that girl every single day? And so that's the kind of two types of confidence. I need confidence from other people when I'm out of drag, to know, because there's a sort of weird mental thing that happens with drag, and it's that people adore your drag persona and they want that every time they see you. And to me, like, well, Tom's cool too. Like, why don't you want Tom, right? It's like when I get booked to host things and my first question back to them is, are you booking me or are you booking birthday girl? Because A, the rates are completely different. And B, like, I feel like you want something from Tom without paying the rate for birthday girl, right? So it's a weird thing. And so the confidence are two different types of confidence, but I do love them, in a really long form answer to your question.
That's fantastic. And I mean, it's not fantastic because also it's really challenging to like try to find those different confidences and then find that line.
Yeah.
When do you feel you found that line between this is Tom and I'm also a fantastic person versus this is birthday girl and she's a fantastic person?
Do you know, I found it, let me think here. I found that line about a year in, when I was like, okay, I've worked my way through the trenches of drag into now I'm a booked queen. And I started getting requests for both me and birthday girl. And I had to have, I know there was at least one conversation where I had to say to them, you don't get all the fun of birthday girl for Tom's rate. And you don't get all of the work of Tom for birthday girl's rate. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying? So it was about a year in and I put the line down and I created birthday girl's own email address and I used my best friend's name as the signature. And it says booking agent underneath it. So I maybe shouldn't admit this on public forums.
I love it.
But I do, and she does the same for me. And it's because people immediately take you more seriously if they think you have an agent, right? It's playing the game of entertainment. And I was very lucky that my best friend, who you know, was already in entertainment. So I had so much knowledge in this space before even ever working in it. So yeah, I don't know. It was pretty early on.
What a great tip.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. That is a fantastic tip because I work with a lot of artists and creatives, right? Either in the music scene or or actors or artists of kinds. Yeah. And I hear this often where it's really hard to find the difference between you as a human and then you as your product, right? Yeah. Which is a very challenging line to find. So thank you for sharing that. Do you have any other tips on how to find that line between you as a human and you as a product?
If you set your rate, charge your rate and don't move on it. You don't want to undersell yourself, but you also don't want to oversell yourself, and you don't want to give different people different ideas of what you're worth. I've learned this over my best friend, I've been very lucky. We've gone through it together for so many years that we sort of each learn a lesson and then we come together and we say, oh, here's these little bits and pieces. That's one of those things. Don't move your rate. If you believe you're worth that rate, you need to believe you're worth that rate. Because you're gonna undercut yourself. And if you're trying to get the gig and you undercut yourself to beat somebody else, that will never work out for you. Just charge your rate, stick to it. That's my other tip.
And I think that translates so well to everybody who's not artists too, right? Might not be the rate, but know your worth and stick with it, right? Stick with your boundaries. Say no when it feels good to say no. Say yes when it feels good to say yes, regardless of who you're chatting with and regardless in front of you, right? And sometimes it feels scary because you're like, well, maybe I got to charge a little bit less than I usually would because I want to get the gig. But what if we don't actually want that gig? What if that gig isn't the right fit for us?
Exactly.
If it's not, it won't be for us, right?
You can't build a successful business as an entertainer or really kind of anywhere in that space. Like, you can't build a successful business in entertainment without knowing exactly what you want out of the gig. You have to make the gig work for you as much as you work for the gig, right? And if you don't, then what are you doing the gig for, right? Especially when you're in drag, you're already spending money when you put a thing of makeup on your face, right? You're already spending money. Your cost is already there. So, charge your rate, stay to it. Oh my God, I'll drive it all the way home with this, but yeah.
Beautiful.
So, I don't know,
And I also find it really cool how you're, again, a bartender and you're a drag artist and you're all these things that a lot of people probably share all of their secrets to.
Yes.
Am I preaching to the choir? I am sure that you just hear beautiful stories, but also like really challenging stories too, right? Yeah. When you're in the public eye so much, how do you take care of yourself?
Oh my gosh. Do you know, this is so funny, and I think sometimes a lot of people judge me for this, but I shut myself out from the world. Like, when I live alone, and I make it that way specifically for a reason, and it's because when I leave the house, like owning a business in a small town and being the resident gay person and being the resident drag queen and the minute I back onto kind of a green space, and I cannot go outside my door without someone in the green space being like, hey, Tom, hey, birthday girl. And it's immediate. Like, you wake up in the morning, it's immediate. So I spend a lot of time alone. I get in my car and I will go drive somewhere and just sit there. Like, sometimes I'll watch Netflix in my car, like on a road or like parked on a road somewhere. Or I'll play Fortnite, or I just got into video games like this last year, and it's great. Like, it's life-changing for that. And it's because as an entrepreneur, and anyone else who is an entrepreneur will know, your brain moves 110 miles an hour at all times. And it doesn't just stop when you're at home. So you need something to do that also moves at 100, that can still challenge you and keep your brain moving, but not about the things that stress you out. So for me, it was video games. I found video games and I was like, oh, okay. It's a beautiful way for me to get some alone time and kind of recharge my social batteries.
Yes. So, and that is such wonderful boundaries with yourself to know, like, I need time alone. Yeah. I need time to recharge, because when we're out, like you said, when you are all these different things that have such a persona, and you have to be that persona, it's really challenging to kind of come back to yourself. So I'm really happy that you found that thing of allowing yourself to be alone. Yep. Did you ever have FOMO? Or was it okay? FOMO, fear of missing out.
So drag comes with so much FOMO because you see all your friends out at the clubs, out at shows, out at their gigs, and you want to be there, to support them, but you also want to, like, get in drag and go out and, like, feel your oats and feel like that girl. So sometimes there's FOMO, but when you transition from being a queen or a performer that, how do I say it? That does the free gigs or does like competitions or anything like that into a full-time booked queen, you sort of lose that FOMO because you're like, well, if I'm not making money, why am I going? Right. And like, or it's, like one of my bestest friends in the whole world, Misty Meadows, who you'll see. That's Misty and I tend to do what we call sympathy drag, where if one of us has a show, the other one will get in drag and go with them because A, travel in numbers, and B, it's just fun to go out together and like put a nice, beautiful dress on, look like a rich girl, and like go hit the streets and go for a drink after the show. So FOMO sometimes happens, but not so much anymore. I'm a tired girl.
Beautiful. Yeah. And I'm really happy that you are in a space where you can do that. And I think that's really good advice for our listeners of it is okay to be by yourself. It is okay to allow yourself to relax. You don't have to be doing and going all the time. Yes. I know myself, a lot of people that I know, where busy is a badge of honor, right? Where, in order to be successful, in order to be important, I must be busy. So what if we were able to kind of pull that back and allow ourselves that in order to be important, I just have to be myself.
In order to be busy, you have to be hydrated. You have to be rested. You have to be able to give your best 100% of the time. And you can't, or I guess 99% of the time, but that other 1%, you need to sleep, eat, do all the things that make you a human.
Yeah.
You know, like you need to. And if you don't, you're going to crash. Like I am so used to crashing. And I did in my like early 20s. Like there were times I would go out and drink all night, slam a Red Bull and go right to work. And it now, as I'm almost 30, I'm paying for it. Right. So now like get your 8 hours of sleep. You deserve that.
Yeah.
Right? You deserve that, and you deserve to drink the water, and you deserve to buy the Stanley mug to drink your water from if that's what makes you feel good, right? You work hard for your money. Work hard for your rest as well, right? Anyway, I'm done.
Work hard for your rest as well.
Yeah, you're going to have to get me on
that.
a soapbox about this, but...
I love it. Actually, we had a guest who talked about what we're doing right now is actually like things like going to spa isn't actually self-care. It's more self-soothing, right?
Yes.
Self-care is something different, right? Taking a shower and sleeping 8 hours is not luxury. Or that shouldn't be luxury. It is to some people, but that shouldn't be our self-care, right? Yeah. Our self-care is actually saying no, right?
Yes.
Our self-care is setting those boundaries.
Your self-care is making yourself smile and doing something that makes you smile or makes you happy. That's your self-care, right?
Yeah. Now you said something when you go out with Misty Meadows, you talked about safety. And I think I'd really like to get into talking about what being a drag artist in the climate right now looks like and how people who are in the LGBTQ community, it could feel safer because right now it doesn't feel like a very safe space for a lot of people.
Well, and it's not just the LGBTQ community, it's racialized communities, it's POC communities, it's minority communities that are really like feeling the heat. It's especially in a city like Calgary and a place like Canada where it is very multicultural. Now we're sort of seeing so much division between communities. As far as the LGBTQ community goes, because I'm not qualified to talk on the other communities, but as far as LGBTQ community goes, it's messy because the argument is really focused on trans people.
Yeah.
And a lot of times drag artists and trans people get pushed into the same categories, and it's simply just not the truth. One is a gender expression, the other is a gender identity, and they're not mutually exclusive. Misty is beautiful and gorgeous, and we go out together, and purely it is for safety because sometimes there are Ubers that won't pick you up. Sometimes there's cabs that won't pick you up, and I saw it last night, right? An Uber canceled on us, like in front of us. We were looking at him, and he canceled. Yeah. And so if you appear to be any other thing than what someone puts you in this box to be, it's quite unsafe. That I got called a slur outside my own bar twice last weekend, because the world is just very nasty, and it's very, how do I put it? People, when it comes to drag and it comes to anything other than what people put you in their box to be, they are uneducated, and that's where a lot of their stuff comes from, is the uneducation. And lots of people don't have queer people in their lives. They don't have anyone in the community in their life to educate them. And so they get away with this behavior for so long that they think it's okay, right? Especially with me playing Fortnite. I hear a lot of slurs. I hear a lot of stuff on Fortnite and on these kind of forums where young people spend most of their time. It's learned behavior, right? These kids are going to grow up hearing this and thinking it's okay. So anyway, yeah, we go out in numbers a lot. There's about 5 of us that will go, 3 of us drive. And so we say, I will drive to Okotoks or from Okotoks to Calgary to pick someone up, drive them to their gig, and then I will drive home because it is much better for that. Like I would rather spend the $20 in gas than have to spend $20 on a suit for a funeral. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I can drivel on about this because it's a long conversation.
It is a very long conversation, and something that I've heard from some privileged groups, people who, like myself, right, being a white cis woman, it's easier for me to be vulnerable, right? Yeah. But you can't be vulnerable when you don't feel safe. And I think that's a gap that a lot of people see. Well, be vulnerable. Confidence is about being vulnerable. Just act yourself, be yourself. And that's easy to say if we feel like we are in a safe space.
Vulnerability is a luxury.
Vulnerability is a luxury.
Right? Being vulnerable, like I can sit here and be like, I went through all of these things, but I, even in the community, am extremely privileged, right? There's there are queer people that can't even get jobs because of their haircut or because of an earring they're wearing or something like that. I am very lucky that I've been able to make a business out of drag and also have my beautiful little bar that also provides me a living, but it's just not the case for everybody, right? And then when you add in something like being an Indigenous person, being POC, being any of these minority communities, you're you're kind of walking into a job interview with a preconceived no, right? So
with a preconceived no, that's a very interesting line. With a preconceived no.
Yeah.
Now, people who are in the LGBTQ community, because I know you can speak on this, is there anything that if you're feeling unsafe that people can do right now to feel a little bit more safe? Is there any safe communities that you can suggest?
Let me think here. So tip number 1, traveling numbers. Tip number 2, there's a couple of organizations that can help you. I would first go to, who would I put first here? Queer Calgary is an amazing organization. They're fairly new, but they do a lot of events around the city, and they're very sort of experienced at getting people where they need to be, and they can help. There's sort of a group on Facebook, so you can say, I need a ride here, or I'm going here, and I need, it's sort of, what is the word? It's an online community of help. So like during the pandemic, we saw a lot of these community groups that were like, help here or help these people or help that. Basically, this group, this Queer Calgary group is the same, but for queer people. And it's an incredible group. Someone says, I'm losing my mind here. I want to go out. I want to do something. I want to whatever. And someone else will comment and be like, let's go for a hike. And it's so cool. But for safety, if you are going out somewhere, you can jump in that group and say, I'm going here. Anybody want to walk me here? Want to walk me there? Whatever. Another one also is just call any queen. Like we will get you where you got to go. I specifically will. If I'm around, I will help you. But yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Because I look at a lot of clients that I work with, there's a lot of conceived notions that just tell a friend, tell somebody around you, tell a parent, but that's not always safe, right? We can't always be vulnerable and safe. So the people who don't feel safe doing that. Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing that.
I did drag for 6 months before I told my parents, like before they knew I did drag. So
okay, do you want to get into that a little bit, talking about that, or
we
no?
can, yeah,
okay.
for sure.
Okay, so you did drag for 6 months before telling your parents. What gave you kind of the confidence and the safety to be able to tell them? Or did you ever feel safe? Was it just kind of happened? What did that look like for you?
So for me, I don't know if this is the best way to go about this, but I did it anyway. I am confident enough. I love everybody in my life and I love everybody that I know, but what you think of me is none of my business. I do not care what anyone thinks about the way that I do things. Obviously, unless it's safety and whatever else, but I just don't care. So when it came to my parents, I told my mom first, and I said, I don't care what you think about this, but I have $400 and $5 bills that I made last night, and I'm going to buy lunch with it. And she was like, how did you get that? And I was like, well, I don't do any of the things you think I do. But I was like, I do drag, and I love it, and it's so fun. It's been something that I've sort of been exploring, and I think I can make it a really viable kind of career path or supplementary career path to everything else. And my mom did not really know like much about drag at the time. Thankfully, she was very she was very cool with it. And she figured it out, and she's now comes to shows. She's like my biggest fan. My dad doesn't not like it. My dad doesn't really acknowledge it. It's just not something for him, and that's okay. He doesn't come to shows. He acknowledges that it's something that I do, and that's where the conversation ends, because my relationship with my dad is very different to the one I have with my mom. Not in a bad way. It's just very different. So, but yeah, this is that one day I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to tell him.
And I like that you touched on our relationships with different people can be different, and that's okay. It's okay, right? We don't always have to have, super vulnerable relationships with one person, and it doesn't have to be everybody. We find our people who we can be.
Yeah. Like my confidence in the way that I do things is never going to help someone like my dad. He's a very different person to me, and we still love each other and all those things, but we are just two very different people, and our relationship looks like this little box, and we are both very comfortable with that little box, and that little box is probably where that'll stay. Whereas my mom is this like crazy spiral circle box that changes and ebbs and flows as we go, because it's just who she is as a person. And I don't know, it's, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Now, as we look at the climate and we look at what's going on right now with the LGBTQ community, how can allies support their friends who are either drag artists or people in the LGBTQ community?
The biggest thing is if you want to support a friend who's a drag artist, or really just anyone who does anything in the community, go to their events, show up, be there. Like, we as drag artists, more often than not, are tired of like, we're at shows, we're doing things, we're always working or whatever. If you want to support, go to a show. It is imperative that you show up. We need to see your face. Like, you have to look back through the 80s and 90s and the AIDS crisis and all of those things, and the police raids at Stonewall in 69 and all those things. And if it weren't for the bodies, the literal bodies at those things, they wouldn't be outnumbered. Right. And so you want to be a good ally. You should be at these things. It's not really even a choice. Right. Find out what you can go to and make time to go to it. It's not going to be violent. Well, they can be, but your experience will go depending on how open you are to it. But the community needs you, and the community relies on you, because there's such a little amount of us and so many of them, that you want to be a good ally. It does serve you as well, because if you go to a protest and someone in your life who's thinking about coming out to you, that immediately shows them you're a safe place for them. Like, you don't even have to have those conversations. So it takes actually a lot of the fear away, because you've just done an act of allyship, right? So show up.
Show up.
Please.
You bet. We're showing up.
Yeah.
I want to go back to talking about how Birthday Girl and how Tom, as an entrepreneur at Salute, how you and what your hopes are to instill that confidence in other people, right? Yeah. What does that look like for you on stage? What is your hope that you're able to give to someone who's in that audience, maybe for the first time ever coming to a drag show?
Yeah, so there's I guess there's two specific moments where I think if I explain these, you'll sort of understand how I feel about
Beautiful.
it. There was one in Okotoks and one in Calgary. I was at a big show in Calgary, a couple thousand people, and it was my first year doing the show, and I was very, very excited about it. I did this show, and I did this Mariah Carey "Oh Holy Night" number, because it was right around Christmas, and the show was done. It was amazing, whatever. Show was done. I go out to do photos and like say hello to people in the audience, and this lady comes up to me and she's a big, beautiful woman. She comes up to me and she gives me this hug, and then she like doesn't let go. And I was like, what is happening? Is everything okay? And then I pull back and she's in tears. Like, she just burst into tears. And I was like, Diva, what is going on? Like, what's happening? Because immediately I'm like, you know, when in TV shows, it goes like you're in a club and then it goes silent and it's just those two people.
Yep.
It was that. And she's crying and I'm like, girl, what is happening with you? Like, are you okay? You're having a heart attack? What's going on? And she just, through her tears, she's like, it is insane that someone that looked like me just did that. And I was like,
juicy.
Yeah. Like, because it's all I ever want to do. Right. Like, and this woman, she's like, people like me don't see myself represented on stages like this. And I was like, well, yes, that makes sense, because I felt the same way when I started doing drag. Is there a place for big people here? And she just held my hands, and together we just sort of, there was like almost no words. It was just like a moment where we were like, we get it, right? Like, I get this now. I understand. And I've never seen her again ever since. She's never been back to a show. I don't even know what her name was, but it was this moment where I was like, that's the impact Birthday Girl has right there in that moment. And I was maybe 4 months in at that point doing drag. And no, I don't know what, I was somewhere around doing drag. So I wasn't ever near the word beautiful in drag, but I had such an impact on this person. That's why I do this. And then the other one was when I was in Okotoks, and we did our very first Pride Festival a few years ago. And I performed on the street, being like, there's two drag entertainers that live in Okotoks, myself and Shane On You. And Shane's a beautiful drag king. And we were doing the show, and I did the like headlining number, and I come out in the same gown actually from the first thing that happened. And I come out and I start performing, and slowly but this massive crowd of like people, because there was 4,000 people at this festival, they come in a big semicircle, and I'm performing this song called Sooner or Later by Jennifer Owens. And it's all about how it's about pretty much the coming out process and being a good ally. And I was having a complete moment because I was like, this is my hometown. I'm in drag in this rural community. And most of these people that are gathering around are like crying, and we're all having a moment together. And that was when I was like, this town gets it, right? So there's kind of two different types of things that happened. And Birthday Girl, really after those two things, I think finally fell into exactly who she is. And yeah, it was two very beautiful moments. So
makes me so happy.
I know.
That makes me so happy to hear those and those moments. Because again, like we hear about the negative moments, right, that drag artists have. But I think it's important to hear about all of these beautiful, beautiful moments.
Exactly. And the beautiful moments, they're few and far between, but the impact is massive, right? Like as a drag artist, I know that I can do a show with thousands of people. Like Lady Gaga says, there can be 99 people in the room. But if you make a difference to just one person, my work here is done. Right? Like it was all worth it. All this money for foundation and eyebrows and contact lenses and lipstick, completely worth it. It's all worth it for that one person.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Something you touched on in that first story was the body image, right? And how you were like, me. Okay, I see this.
Yeah.
Did becoming Birthday Girl affect your own body image and the way that you see your own body?
Yes.
Okay.
The dysphoria that comes from drag is crazy. Because I've been a big person pretty much since I was born. I was an 11-pound baby. Like I was huge. And so my body image has always been very all over the place and very weird. But doing drag, like, because you alter your body, or I alter my body so much in drag. My girl body made me love my boy body so much more, because you take your corset off at the end of the night and you see your beautiful snatched little waist go into your third trimester, and it is the most beautiful thing to me. And what it actually made me do is like clothes shopping was always very weird for me, because my proportions are so weird, right? Like I have a small little waist, but I got massive thighs and massive calves, so I'm buying my jeans already 3 sizes bigger. Birthday Girl, when she started getting custom things made, I was like, oh, custom clothing is legit. Custom clothing is a thing. And so I was able to dress my body a little bit more beautifully, and then I loved it. Like finding this plaid shirt that like fits and is not down to my knees, beautiful. So yeah, my relationship with my body's very much changed, and it's because of the beauty that is Birthday Girl's body, like really had an impact on me too. So yeah.
Beautiful. Do you have any advice for people who might be struggling with their own body image, like doubting how their own beauty?
Yeah, I don't know if I have necessarily advice. I guess I kind of do. The only person in the world who is guaranteed to show up at your funeral is you. So your body is the car you've been given to drive it to your funeral, effectively. And you have every right to do whatever you want with that temple, as they say, your body's a temple or whatever. You got every right to do exactly what you want. If you're struggling with your body image, it's very hard to say, like to sit here and be like, change it. But go buy clothes that make you feel good. Who cares what everybody else thinks about it, about the way you look or the things that you do? If you're struggling with the way that your body looks, then there's things out there to help. You know, go, if you say you want bigger boobs or you want to lose a little bit of weight or whatever, go to your doctor. This is a completely separate situation because a lot of people can't get into doctors. That's a whole thing. Especially queer people have struggles finding affirming doctors. Anyway.
So Tom, you said something in the intake form of this that really stood out to me. You said the line, confidence is so important because it's the only thing that other people can and will try to take away from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk a little bit more on that.
Oh God. People find confidence so threatening, especially if they don't share the same confidence that you have. And I don't think it's ever malicious. It's not that they're trying to bring you down. I mean, obviously some people are trying to bring you down, but most people, they try to take it from you because they want it, right? And they think that's the way they're going to get it. And with me, I will, like, how do I kind of put it? If I can feel that someone wants my confidence, I will generally stop and say, what's happening? Like, what's going on here? Because I have tools that can help you, but you are trying to move into the house before we've built it. And so I can help you build it, and I've got the toolbox right here, but you need to be upfront with me about exactly what you need. Like, if you're struggling with confidence, if you're struggling with body image, if you're struggling with your queerness, if your gender identity, your gender expression, like, tell me what it is you need. Because the thing with confidence, I will happily give it to you, right? But not if you're going to take it. I will give it to you if you say, I really need this. And I'll be like, ooh, you need it more than I do, you know? And it's people will try to take it from you, but you have to be, it's sort of a bit of a catch-22 because you've got to be confident enough to realize it. And some people and most people aren't. Like, you can meet some of the most confident people in the world, and they will never realize that someone's trying to take it from them. And I'm like, why do you think all these people are surrounding you? It's because you're the light and they need it, right? The problem is I refer to other people as lampshade people, and lampshades are meant to dim light, right? And so when I meet someone, I pretty immediately can either put them into a lampshade category or the light bulb category. And it's either you're going to create the light or you're going to snuff it. And so generally when there's all these lampshade people around you, your light then gets dimmed, and that's how they win, and that's how they get it, right? That's how they take it. Whereas chandeliers are made of beautiful light bulbs, and so many of them. So surround yourself. Why would you not want your community to be a chandelier, or do you want it to be a vintage lamp? You know, what do you want here? So it's part of the thing of you need to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with chandelier people versus vintage lamp people, you know?
Ooh, chandelier versus vintage lamp people.
The vintage lamps have their place.
Of course.
Right? And it's gorgeous and beautiful in its own space. But chandeliers are whatever you ask anyone what they want in their kitchen, they all say chandeliers, right?
And what is a telltale sign for finding a chandelier?
For finding a chandelier, it's when you walk in a room and you immediately don't have to do anything. You know?
Yes.
Like today I walked in and you immediately were like, what up? And I was like, thank God. I don't have to be the one that's like, how are you? What's going on? Da da da. Because you were that. And I've only ever seen you in person like maybe 5 times since I met you like however long ago. But you are one of those people, and it's because you're an energy matcher, right? And no matter you could be going through like a death in the family right now. I would never know. Right. And it's because your confidence matches mine. It's what makes us such a good pair. And it's what makes our chemistry so good. Right. And pretty immediately if someone relaxes you, they're a chandelier person. If someone offers something without expecting, they're a chandelier person. If someone, what is that kind of some other things I've noticed is if someone, you know, when you go out to dinner and someone offers to pay and you say, no, I got this. And then they go, well, here's the tip. That's a chandelier person, right? Like it's mutually beneficial relationships, and it's mutually relaxing relationships. It's mutually like me and my best friend, like we now, as of last week, have matching cars. Yeah. And it's beautiful. And it's like, oh, just take my car. You know, it's that kind of relaxation that like really is a telltale sign of chandelier people, right? Yeah.
That is such a I love that analogy. That is so great. Did you come up with that right now?
I literally at this moment, yeah.
I saw you being like, yeah, I was like, that was pretty smart. That was the moment. That's the TikTok video. That's it.
Yeah.
Love that very, very deeply. Find your chandelier people.
Yeah.
Now, the next question I have for you, what is the most important thing?
Oh God. The most important thing, when I kind of touched on this earlier, is the only one going to show up at your funeral is you. So, if the people you have at your funeral who show up are the ones that you made an impact on. Those are your chandelier people, right? And that is the most important thing. It's not how you live your life. It's not who you know. It's about what you do. And I know that's like such a cliche way, but I know that there are people in my life that I have impacted so much, and there are people that have impacted me so much that those are the people I want to carry my legacy, right? Everybody goes on about legacy all the time, and it's what you leave after you leave this earth. When I leave this earth, everyone in my immediate circles will probably are not far behind, right? So how do you affect generations coming up? How do you impact people that are younger than you? This world is going to look so different for people who are born now and who are born even in the 2000s, right? Although people in year 2000 are now 23 years old, and that's crazy.
I know.
To me. It's any of you in this room. It's the most important thing is how you make an impact. And it can be the tiniest impact in the world. It can be like, did I make this carpet happy today? Yes. Then I've done my job here. Right? The most important thing is that, and you can do it in whatever way works for you, but that's the most important thing.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh God. I gotta think back to all the advice, all the unsolicited advice I never asked for. Oh God. I should have prepared this. I even looked at it on the thing.
What is the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh God, now you're gonna have to make me think through a lot more stuff. I think the worst piece of advice that I ever received was get up and go to work, right? Get up, go to work your 9 to 5, get your benefits and your salary, and go home and do it all again the next day. It's fine. It works for most people. It doesn't work for me. And if you're telling me that, you don't even know me. So I think that was probably and I probably could go for the best piece as well, because when someone tells me, get up and go work your 9 to 5 because that's how you're going to have a good life. Absolutely. When I worked 9 to 5, I hated it. Right. But it pushed me to be more successful in these other areas to prove everybody wrong. Like, I want to prove people wrong. I want them to see, like, say when my parents retire, I want to be able to put them in a home. I want to be able to throw them $100 and be like, go get your diapers if that's what you need, or whatever. It's like, I want to be able to do that. And I want to do it off the back of drag. And I want to do it off the back of my business, of breaking the mold, of breaking the 5-day work week, of like, I want to live the best life ever and still be able to have all the things they have. Right. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So now I think most people who are watching this are like, okay, how do I come see both Tom as the bartender at Salute and also the birthday girl? What's that next for you? What's coming up?
The best way to get in contact with me would be through any social media platform. It's all Birthday Girl YYC everywhere. And actually funny, my boy stuff is all Tommy YYC everywhere. So you can catch that all there as well. And it all links through to technology, and all puts in the one place. But there's so much coming up here. My 2-woman show with Misty Meadows is going on the road to 6 cities. I've got another 2-woman show with Misty Meadows that's going to a couple of other venues. The show is coming up on 2 years of sold out shows, which is beautiful. Our drag bingo is also a 1.5 years sold out, which is great. Yeah, I think big, beautiful things are coming for both Birthday Girl and for me. And who knows, maybe it doesn't include the bar, maybe it doesn't include drag, but I think big things are coming, and everything I've done so far will be part of the beautifulness that comes out of that. So
thank you for sharing that. I want to leave with one more question. Mm-hmm. If you could give one piece of advice to help people with their confidence, what would that be?
One piece of advice to help with confidence. I think the biggest thing is look in the mirror and decide what kind of person you want to be. And because no one's going to judge the way you get to that person. But if you can't look in the mirror and you can't find at least one good thing, then what are you all doing all this for? What are you getting up? What are you going to work for? What are you doing all that? Like, you have to wake up and be happy with at least one thing. And even if that's just that you woke up that day, you woke up. That's a way to go. You know what I mean? Like, and so if you want to build your confidence a little bit more, or you want to find something, do something that you want to do. Do it alone, or do it with a friend, or do whatever. Just do it. It's about doing it, right? Put your shoes on, run the race, or even walk the race, or even just stand there at the start line. The fact is you got there. So just do the damn thing.
Do the damn thing.
Do the damn
you
thing.
Bet you can.
Yeah. Okay, I can. Great.
Yeah. Tom,
Yeah.
thank you so dearly for coming and sharing your wisdom today, and for getting vulnerable. And I'm happy that it felt like a safe place to do so.
Oh, this was amazing. This is like the coolest thing I've ever done.
Beautiful. Thanks, Tom. We'll
Thank
see
you.
you soon.
Okay, bye.